Okay, there we go. That was strange. For some reason, OBS decided not to pick up my Focusrite. But anyways, it's working now. Let me just... Oh. Sorry about that. You guys just sat there in quiet. Here. Let me just... Come on. Okay, I'll let you listen to that again so that you can actually hear the song. So, we'll be right back, I guess. Hello everyone and welcome to yet another Winchester Wednesdays, and this time I actually turned on the sound. So, yeah, that was smart of me. But yeah, anyways, we've got another reading tonight. If we actually don't have that many, like, there's not that many people involved, so, or not that many characters, but yeah, so it should be fun. Yeah. So, without further ado, I guess I'll introduce you to the call. Hello, call.
Hey.
That's me.
Hi.
Oh my god, dude.
So,
Really, Sky? Really?
Don't mind us, we're looking at memes.
Anyways, there's some absolutely shitty, mean crap going on in my chat.
That is quality.
Okay.
Who are you calling shitty?
That is
You,
101% quality.
So anyways, memes themselves are terrible.
Hey, shitty's actually a compliment for memes, because why do you think they call them shitposts?
I'll show you a shit post. I shove a full-size corner post up your ass sideways.
Daddy, please.
Can we at least
You would be getting a Woody from that, wouldn't you?
No!
And he returned.
Pun.
Don't make me a pun.
So, anyways, yes. So now without further ado, let me introduce you to everybody. So, first off, we'll start out with my wonderful co-host, Orange Shirt Guy and Sky Rays.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? I'm very excited. I'm very happy, even though I shouldn't be.
Yeah. And next up, we have our wonderful fic editor, Double R Forest.
Wait, were you about to say fickery editor? Because
No,
I've never
fic reader. I almost said fic reader.
Fic reader editor.
No, you just read them. You don't do anything else.
Fic reader / editor, though? That seems more accurate there.
Anyways, next up, we have our wonderful artist, Sora, who may or may not... Oh.
Hello, I'm still here, yeah.
Yay.
I'm just, I'm kind of squared away in a corner, so...
But by the way, Sora, apparently I do not, and I'm sorry that I've been screwing this up, but apparently I do not have Woody's icon saved with a clear or with an invisible background, and I can't find Sky Raises and or Steels.
I never got one.
I think I got both of those. Let me double check.
I was never told to do, steals.
Congratulations.
Because I don't show up enough.
Okay, yeah.
Sora, do you want another $100 so that you can do Steels?
$100, that's a bit much.
Okay, I got mine. I've got Woody's as well, but the one without the ears.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Oh my god.
I also have the one without the ears.
Thank you for making me feel like shit,
Like,
Sky
honestly,
Rays.
when I got that, I didn't even give a shit. I was just, like, honored to even get that. I didn't even care.
Oh wait, no, I do have a Steel Chords icon though, not one of.
Well,
Sora's,
I have one that's not of Sora's either. I'll just throw that in here because I actually have that queued up.
Here, Winchester,
scared.
I'm sending you a thing, okay?
Okay.
It's my icon.
Hey!
But no, why is it taking forever, you stupid computer? Okay, there it is. Angry, very angry. Oh, wait. Hold on, that's not
Are you
transparent.
sure you're angry?
There. Now we have Steels.
Squints, what do you mean I'm angry?
Well, you said at one point you were angry, then you were like, wait.
So,
By the way, Winchester, you're still on the video screen.
yeah, I know. I just switched it because see, I was still editing that, so I was just like,
Yeah.
Man, this just ain't your day.
no. And I don't know what happened. For some reason, it was set to the default device for the computer, and my computer default devices are my Focusrite. And for some reason, it decided just not to pick them up, and I'm just like, okay.
Wait, look, heck, that feeling when Woody has the transparent one as his current profile picture, but I never sent the transparent one to freaking Winchester. Nunny?
GG.
Okay, save. Okay.
Oh, what? Hold on. Why is my image still that one? I should have changed it.
Because you suck.
Wow.
That was a pretty good hit.
Did we ever get through the rest of them? We also have Steel Chords here,
Much better.
and last but not least, we have Woody,
I'm just bored.
who's just bored.
Bull. Oh! The meme.
All right.
That's a good meme.
Oh God, I'm scared.
Why?
Why?
Oh, Woody's icon was so big it was like his one eye was filling up one piece of the screen.
Oh my god. I got a bowl. Good for me.
That was
That was
one of
a good
those.
show and you know it.
That's one of those shows that I've heard so much about, but I've never actually seen it to my knowledge.
Get cultured.
Sky
like
Rays that
every
doesn't
show.
have the clear
Slime?
background.
It is a glorious show.
Anyway,
There, I
anyways.
sent the transparent one for Sky Rays. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Yep.
No, the Sky Rays sent me his own. Oh, you sent it in that chat. Okay, I'm stupid. Never mind. I was looking for it in a DM, but it wasn't there.
I did send it in the DM.
You did, but you sent one with the.
But you didn't have a transparent one, Sky Rays. I
That
didn't
was a
see that
transparent one.
No, it wasn't.
No, the one you just sent is like a completely super white background.
That's racist.
No?
Oh,
That is the.
That's weird
Do not start.
because-
I do not apologize for that one bit.
oh God, we're gonna have a civil war here, aren't we?
Wait, what?
Or an Infinity War. What? I didn't say anything.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, you're right. We need to settle this right now. DC or Marvel?
I don't know enough about either of them, so I'm out of this.
I don't either. Good talk.
Winchester, it sounds like you got interference in your mic.
Oh, is my Focusrite acting up again?
Wait.
Let's see if that's any better. Hello? Oh, great. Now I can't hear you guys. Hello? God dang it. There we go.
Better? That sounds better.
Awesome.
Winchester Wednesdays did not have a Winchester.
That's happened.
That's happened multiple times.
Yeah, that's happened a lot.
Those weren't Winchester Wednesdays, though. Those were just.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, those were just hijacked Winchester Wednesdays.
No, there was an actual Winchester, or there were a lot of actual Winchester Wednesdays that didn't have me in them when I was like starting out going to college because I literally didn't have internet.
Oh, yeah, I think I remember that a couple times.
Yeah, Commander was doing that.
Yeah.
So
Can't hear beyond Winchester? What does that mean?
he can't hear one shirt guy who's behind me. Just kidding. So, yeah. Congratulations, Sora. You're getting put in roles.
Great.
So yes, getting ready for the reading tonight. I was not prepared, but we only have 5 voices, so. So, double R is Grapevine male or female?
Female, she's that unicorn that freaked out over Spike and started that hate group.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Oh, so she's the one that's in the Pony KKK. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, basically.
Wait, what now?
So, okay, here. Just because I have to split things up. Steel, would you rather be Trixie or Huffy? Bye, Woody.
They're both girls, aren't they?
Yes.
One's a dragon, one's a pony.
I'll take Hubby.
Okay.
I don't want to be Trixie.
Okay, congratulations, Orange Shirt Guy. You're now Trixie.
Oh. Can he pull off a Trixie?
Well, he's here.
Somebody voice?
He's here in a living body, and Skyrays is now Twilight.
Oh, I'm actually helping out.
Yeah?
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go get a big cup of water.
Oh my god, Sora.
No, well, you were like, okay, we have too many and there's only like 5 rules. I was like, okay, I'll just sit here and I'll just listen.
But you're the only female here. Of course you're going to.
You're gonna be a character.
I don't know. I feel like that way I could do a really good rarity.
No. If that is the case, I will text.
What
Yeah.
could you possibly be talking
No. If that's the case, I will like text and call and annoy the living hell out of. Oh wait, never mind. Skyrays doesn't have to be Twilight because CMC's here.
Yay! Does that mean
Skyrays, why the frick are you using that meme of me as a profile picture?
You almost made me snort my coke all over my desk. I mean, what?
It took you long enough. Wow.
So should Skyrim be grapevine now?
I don't care at this point.
I can
I can
do
trick to your
it. I,
grapevine, whichever one you want. I'm confused here. Oh, I get it.
Well, you haven't done the switches yet. I'll quickly do them.
Yes, I have.
oh, hi, CMC.
No.
What switches?
Hold on, I need to wait for the entire document to load.
Just like what switches? I did the show title. I did the Steam event. I put an event in the Discord.
Documents.
What's wrong with the document?
That's gray, not black.
Oh my god!
And the spacing is wrong.
What?
You're getting as bad as Jesse, the time, the time.
Talking about?
Ugh. You're getting like Forrest Ray.
I do because when you copy straight off of
Yeah, well, why'd you take this long to get to it?
pause.
It's not like you have a gerb.
I wasn't anywhere near a computer because, yeah, what was
Hey,
it?
there we go.
2 days ago?
It's not a Winchester Wednesday stream without Skyrays' phone going off.
Yeah,
So
You know the friends that I've been helping out with in pregnant?
nope.
Yeah, well, she went into the hospital with some pains, and they basically said, after a day's worth of monitoring, we're just gonna take the baby.
Fun.
And she was starting.
back.
Yeah, from the status of things, she was starting to get gestational diabetes.
Interesting.
Sugar in her urine, but baby wasn't getting sugars.
Fun. So, yeah.
So yeah, the 1-year-old has the baby sister.
Fun. But yeah. So CMC's now here, and he is of course changing his name. But yeah, you were saying you didn't switch the things, and I'm just like, I did. I put out all the notifications this time. I did good.
I haven't even checked any of that yet. I just went straight to the document because I thought with how long I've been away from because of shoveling, and then when finished shoveling had to go run for pizza, I thought, hey, they'll probably start reading. So mute mic and join call.
Yeah, but basically, and Cole is saying that my voice is super louder than literally everyone else. So, yay. But yeah, so I think we got all the voices sorted out. So yeah, if
How much do I have to speak this time?
you're only you're only Twilight.
Yes, but how much does Twilight speak?
I don't know. I don't read these things. I'm a terrible person.
It looks like I've got a couple pages before I have to say anything, so I'm gonna mute and start inhaling a pizza.
I don't think that's healthy.
Okay, I'll just turn on the vacuum and start inhaling.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know why you said inhaling. I just start automatically thinking he's gonna smoke his pizza.
Oh God. And I don't know what stream is seeing because it's it's sort of like on my levels going through OBS. I actually am quite a bit quieter than everybody in the call. So
I'm trying to listen. We're extremely quiet to the point where it's almost inaudible.
cuz like seriously, I'll at the risk of doing do I actually have? Oh, I don't have any of my other monitors. But here, at the risk of accidentally doing things, see if you watch my levels, like you can see my meters on stream. So my mic's the one on the bottom, and then if you guys talk, yeah, you guys are way higher than mine.
No, we can't see your meters on stream.
You should be able to. Oh wait, that's because I didn't do this. There you go. Now you can see my meters on stream.
Octopus.
See.
Yeah, I mean,
There we go. Now I see.
yeah, I don't understand what is going on there.
It might be backwards.
No, it's not because I mean I could drag that up, but no, it's not
Check
because
your properties to see if you have some sort of
What I'm
amplifier.
hearing is coming through speakers into your microphone.
nope. So I can't hear whatever they're saying, but so can you hear them now? If they say something? Because right now I turn my speakers off. So CMC, could you hear yourself there or whoever there?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Something really got screwed up and I don't understand what.
Your
Output.
channels got messed up.
Yeah, something must have
It
really...
sounds like it sounds more like we're hearing it through a distant microphone.
Yeah, that's streaming. Oh. Audio track. Recording audio. Audio track 1. Audio.
Wizard statement in effect for Palatine.
Track 1. It's 128. Recording uses track 2. Track 1. Okay, because I literally changed nothing from the last time. Because this is interesting. Unless something changed in the focus, right? Which I don't think it did, but I can check. Load from device. Okay, you guys say something.
Something.
What?
Blah blah black sheep.
Yeah, you guys are going through the DAW playback, and I'm coming through the hardware inputs. I, honest to God,
The stream just crashed for me. What the hell?
Here, let me just try restarting stream and see if that does anything. Is
His microphone.
my microphone?
Okay.
So
Testing.
here, I'll shut off my microphone and you guys say stuff. Alrighty, so apparently I'm going to have to do this the back assward way, and everybody in the Discord call is going to hate me, but unfortunately this time I'm going to have to do it. Say something.
Okay.
Something.
Hello.
Can you hear yourselves horribly?
Nope.
No.
Oh, that's surprising.
Oh, very light echo. Nope, never mind. It's gone.
Because
Actually, no. I heard us when you told us to say something on the stream.
Yeah, you're going to hear yourselves because I am now putting you through...
Oh.
I am now routing you through my mixer and routing you back in via the same...
No.
That's much better. I can hear us now. It's still slightly low, but
It's
it is about
fine.
5 times better than before.
But no, you're saying we should be able to hear ourselves through Discord? No, I'm not hearing anything.
Because I'm literally sending you guys' audio from what you guys are saying. I'm literally sending it back through my mic channel.
No.
Okay, I'll accept this.
It works. Jerry-rigging, but it works.
Yeah. Let me make it so that I can actually... Or so that... What would you say you guys' level on stream is? Is it good or is it quiet?
You want to tell what we sound compared to you?
Yes.
I love how he was saying that and this sounded like he was just a moth just flying away from the mic.
Mm-hmm. Winchester?
Yes?
I think you flew away. Oh, there you are.
No, I didn't.
We are loud compared to you.
You guys are loud compared to me.
Yep.
Okay, how loud?
25% louder.
Okay, now say something.
Something.
Compared to me, I guess.
Sam Tom.
Blah.
No, it's good now.
It's
Base,
good?
Toakoi says he can hear the call.
Okay, so, congratulations. I will be right back. You guys get to entertain the viewers for a minute.
Oh god, this is way too much, man. I don't know if I can handle this. Anyways.
Yeah, so we got our 2 to 4 inches of snow, and yeah, it's normal. Shoveling.
We were expecting about 2 to 4 inches of snow, but it ended up turning into 1 inch just because everything is still warm out here. We're expecting like another 6 inches this weekend from what we're hearing. I don't know how true that is, because Chicago.
Yeah, well, one of the past few days I was in a waiting room with some old ladies, and they were discussing how they took a trip down somewhere in the south. I don't remember where, but there was a sudden winter storm warning. They got 2 to 3 inches. And it's like, okay, I've got a vehicle that can drive through this. I'm going to go to the store. Get to the mall, and there's only the shop where the owner lives right next door open. Because they don't have plows ready for any of that kind of stuff. And
They
they
rarely
don't,
ever get it.
and they don't understand that a basic car can just drive through 2 to 3 inches nicely. Once you get up to 6 inches, then you're having issues.
Yeah, if you have the correct tires, but everything in the southern part of not Illinois, of America, everyone has summer tires. Barely anyone has seasonal tires or winter tires. So even just a little bit of snow can cause a lot of problems with summer tires.
Yeah, if they don't have actual grips on anything.
Like, I found it actually quite hilarious because there was a couple of guys from my old job who came up from Texas for a business meeting with the company, and we had like barely an inch of snow that came by, and they could barely get out of the parking lot because they kept slipping on the smallest patches of ice.
Because they came up with a company vehicle from there, and they kept the same vehicle while here.
I got all seasons on my car, and it's funny because if I were to go down to Texas during a snowstorm or some shit, everyone would be on the side of the road trying to push their car out and just be driving down. It's like totally fine.
Hey.
So Coal Dust is eating whipped cream. That's a good story, right?
Eating whipped cream?
Yeah, it says here to tame the demons of his belly.
Are you sure that's whipped cream?
Well, it's white and creamy, so I assume it's whipped cream. No, we're keeping it. No, okay, fine, whatever. I already saw where that's going.
Alrighty, and I'm back.
Good, he missed
So you
it.
think? You think you're back?
I'm worried, and I'm gonna have to check the recording now, won't I? Oh God. So, without further ado, now that everybody can hear call and everything, I am going to transition not to blackness, but to a very small version of that, and go to this. Okay. Take a little bit of my Coke. And let's get started. So yes. Anyways, It Takes a Village by Dieter Manfred. Of course, regular streaming rules apply, or regular reading rules apply. Mute your microphone when you're not reading, etc., etc. Remember to unmute when your line comes up. So yes. Yeah. So anyways, It Takes a Village by Dieter Manfred. Tonight, your narrator will be myself, Winchester. Huffy will be played by Steele. Spike will be played by Double or Forrest. Twilight Sparkle will be played by CMC. Trixie will be played by Orange Shirt Guy. Grapevine will be played by Sora. And Rarity will also be played by Sora. It Takes a Village, Chapter 14.
So you actually have to fight this grown dragon the day after tomorrow?
Huffy turned to him, leaning on her elbow. Her Cherie's eyes were lit with both horror and fascination.
Can't you just run away?
Sprawled on his back beside her, Spike stretched his legs a little into the warm spring air and let them slump. They curled over like a cat's paws.
Nope. He'll destroy Ponyville if I run away. At least he said he would.
She stared at him. Spike could almost see the thoughts whizzing behind her expression.
I don't think the princesses would let that happen. I'm sure that if I didn't fight, they'd protect the village. But I'm not a coward. I'm a dragon, and I have to stand my ground.
She frowned.
I think you should get out of here. I could invite you to the Brumby Bushlands. they're so far away that this razor fang couldn't get to you.
He shook his head and squirmed a little on his back.
I have to stand my ground, because it's my ground.
That's
She
stupid.
let out a harsh breath.
That's stupid.
He smiled.
Probably.
But you told me about all these ponies who don't want you here. You told me that some pony threw a harpoon at you. Why bother staying if you're facing danger from all sides?
Not all sides. There are important less reasons to leave, yeah, but there are even more important reasons to stay. Anyway, would any pony be able to take the Brumby from you without a fight?
She hemmed a little before rolling back onto her back beside him, her face deeply unsettled.
No, but that's different. I'm safe in Brumby bushlands. Nothing could hurt me there.
He raised an eyebrow.
Was that always the case?
You like asking awkward questions.
Guilty.
She gazed at the sky a little longer, and the lines on her face grew heavy and solemn.
I was still just a kid when I ran away. I was still pretty small, and my wings were just coming in, and they hurt so much I could barely think. Everything was too big and too scary and too horrible for words. I thought many times about going back, but I just couldn't face.
She paused, and then her voice continued in a stronger tone.
I spent the first couple of years hiding as much as I could. There's some strange creatures in the Brumby, and I wasn't big enough to challenge them. I ate anything I could find. Tree barks, rocks, shrubs, berries.
Dragons are omnivores.
What?
Sorry.
His internal Twilight-trained library assistant didn't pipe up very often, but when it did, it usually made him feel like a bit of a klutz.
Just thinking aloud. Please go on.
Well, that only continued for a couple years, and then I started to grow. It was frightening at first because it was getting harder and harder to hide myself. But at the same time, I was getting better at doing certain things. Hunting food, for example. And suddenly the other creatures were as wary of me as I was of them.
Spike found himself nodding with approval.
So you started to carve out your own territory.
I never knew that's what it was. I didn't think it had a name, or that it was a dragon trait. I just knew it was mine.
That's the way I feel about Ponyville.
They were lying in the huge depression in the center of Spike's house, looking up at the sky. The jagged, incomplete walls surrounded them, no higher than the foundations in some places and built up to head height, well, Spike's head height, in others. Clouds skidded through the blue above them, occasionally pushed by some Pegasus or another. Huffy was far shyer than he'd expected for a dragon who'd been her own carer since she was a baby. But it wasn't quite like the bashful shyness of Fluttershy. It was a watchful shyness, one that kept its eye on everything that could be a possible threat. It was the type of wariness he sometimes saw in wild animals. She seemed a lot more relaxed around Spike, but only now that they were alone, after Trixie's dramatic entrance, Huffy had gently released her former unicorn before turning away.
Show me your village, please.
She spoke to Spike in a low voice, not looking back to where Trixie stood. The show pony's tear-stained face was torn, yet resigned. She bowed her head in sad acceptance as Spike led Huffy away. Spike had shown her around Ponyville, judiciously navigating around the protesters before the town hall, all the way from the edge of the Everfree to Ghastly Gorge. He had purposely left his house until last. He was hugely proud of what he'd accomplished in such a short time, and it showed off like a peacock displaying its tail. Huffy had lain down, a little tired after a long flight. Spike had flopped down beside her, slowly at first, but with increasing confidence. They had struck up a conversation that somehow had eaten up hours. He found her to be an utterly intriguing conundrum, and seemed she equally fascinated by him. She had asked question after question about his life, first in Canterlot, now Ponyville. His answers made her grow thoughtful and even bolder. Underlying all their talk was the unspoken mantra of another dragon like me. Spike could feel it pulsing in the air between them.
What are you gonna do about these protests?
Huffy asked idly, picking at her claws. She was thinner than he'd first noticed, and he thought it was probably had something to do with having to find her own food.
Nothing. What should I do? Might not be around in a couple days, so why bother with them?
She sucked in a sharp breath and rolled over, suddenly, her eyes boring into his.
You can't mean that.
I'd be an idiot if I hadn't considered it.
You sound as if you expect it.
He scowled.
That's not fair. I don't want to die. I've been carrying on because if I did anything else, I'd think I'd go completely doolally. I've been building my house, training, helping out, even going to the Grand Galloping Gala for publicity purposes. Never thought I'd say that.
Aren't you afraid?
Of course. Sometimes I'm so afraid I can hardly move. I've even been so angry I felt like burning down everything I could see. But what good would that do? We've got to keep going. It's the only thing that makes any sense.
But you still think you're gonna die, don't you?
Spike turned back to the sky.
Maybe. Maybe. He's so much bigger than me. He's bigger than both of us put together. Anyway, even if by some crazy miracle it doesn't kill me, there was that stupid harpoon too. I've still got no idea who threw it, and that's not very comforting.
Have the police ponies found nothing?
Huffy's forepaw tentatively traveled to his shoulder, where it hovered, almost touching him, but not quite.
Nope. The letters have been cleared out any magical signature, but they can't trace whichever unicorn did this through magical means. Same with the launching gear. They found that almost immediately. It isn't listed as stolen from any antique shops or museums, so it had to have come from a private collection. It's really old, about 130 years old, which makes it even older than me.
What do you mean?
Huffy's paw still hovered over his shoulder. The pale mauve of her scales looked somehow faded beside its dusky pale purple hide. Spike glanced over at her.
Oh, well, it's not a nice story. It's sort of how the School for Gifted Unicorns got my egg. I only found out a couple weeks ago.
Tell me?
He dragged his eyes back to the sky and considered it. On the one claw, perhaps Huffy would understand and sympathize, but on the other, it would probably only make her more frightened of ponies.
I'd rather not, right now. Let's talk about happier things, like drought or famine or plague.
She laughed, though her eyes were still very curious.
So you know how you came to Equestria, then?
He nodded shortly before pausing.
Wait, you don't?
She tipped her head, and her paw finally touched his shoulder tentatively.
No.
He sat up, rolling over to face her, taking her paw in his.
Huffy, I know how you came to Equestria. Jess told me. I can go and get the letter.
Her mouth slowly dropped open as she returned his stare, her breathing becoming faster and shallower. He squeezed her paw.
You don't have to decide right now. The option's there.
She licked her dry lips before her eyes fastened to the churned ground in his house.
I do want to know, but I don't. Not really.
He nodded understandingly.
I felt that way too. Still do, a bit.
She drew her long, willowy neck up and squared herself.
Please get the letter.
He squeezed her paw again before getting to his feet.
I'll be right back.
She lowered her eyes once more. He gave her a final look before beginning to run down to the library, bounding over his half-finished wall with a quick stroke of his wings. She looked frightened again, her narrow face filled with apprehension. Once he had reached the open library door, he called out.
Twilight? Hey, Twilight, any pony home?
In a minute, Spike.
Twilight's voice called out, and he tried to squash his impatience. He waited for a few minutes, shifting from claw to claw before giving up a small huff and pushing his head through the door.
Twilight?
What he saw brought him up short. The great and powerful Trixie was seated at the replacement table in the main library. Her head was buried against Twilight's shoulder as she shook with suppressed sobs. Twilight gave him a dangerous look.
Spike, I told you to wait.
Sorry? I'll just go.
Wait.
Trixie whipped her head around, her ice blue mane a mess. Purple eyes locked onto him, and abruptly Spike was having his head hugged fiercely by a traveling show pony.
Thank you for finding her. Thank you.
It was mostly just.
You helped.
Trixie pulled back, with a jaunty toss of her head, and recalled her prouder days. She continued.
Besides, you were the one who informed me.
You're welcome.
His statement sounded more like a question. She didn't seem to have stopped crying the whole time that he and Huffy had been exploring, and then talking.
Though I don't see why you're thanking me if you're so unhappy.
His brow furrowed. She sniffed, and her haughty demeanor slipped over her like a spangled cloak.
Trixie is utterly fine. Thank you very much. She is only the happiest unicorn in all of Equestria.
Really?
Spike's eyebrow lifted. Trixie flushed.
Of course.
He had seen through her arrogance, and she knew it. She sagged a little on the spot before looking up at him wistfully.
How is she?
She's fine.
Spike took care to keep his tone soothing. Trixie relaxed infinitesimally.
Infinitesimal.
We're up at my house now. I'm sorry I interrupted.
What were you after?
Could I grab Jess's letter?
The one...
Twilight's eyes widened, and she glanced sidelong at the confused Trixie before nodding once.
Right. It's upstairs. I won't be a moment.
She began to race up to the curving steps to her bedroom.
Seriously, are you okay?
Spike looked with some amusement at her ragged mane and unkempt coat.
You're not looking so good.
She gave him a sharp look.
Trixie is only the greatest and most powerful unicorn in all of recorded history. Why wouldn't she be okay?
Because you look like you've been dragged through a hedge backwards. And I know your name. You don't have to keep telling it to me.
It's been an emotional morning.
You don't say.
Did she ask about me?
Trixie slammed her hoof over her mouth and giving him a stricken look. Then she gave a small, stifled scream, throwing herself back into the chair behind the table and sinking her head into her folded forelegs.
I can't keep this up.
Then don't.
Spike shrugged, and his shoulder knocked the door frame, making the tree shudder a bit. He winced and crouched down a little more.
I can see you're pretty shattered by what happened between you and Huffy all those years ago. You don't need to hide it.
I'm too used to it. I've always done it, even when I was a foal. It was the only way.
She trailed off, then her lower lip quivered and her purple eyes filled.
I never meant to hurt her so much. I didn't even realize I was doing it. She never told me she was so unhappy. I never knew she heard me when I was boasting about owning a dragon.
You boasted about owning a dragon?
She nodded her head rapidly, her eyes closing in shame. 2 tears escaped the lids, leaving tracks down her ravaged face.
I never told her how much that she meant more to me. I thought she knew.
We can't read minds, you know.
Spike was so amazed at the audacity of Trixie's bragging. No wonder Huffy had hated it. She would have felt like some sort of trophy, not a living, feeling, sentient being at all. Spike would have been miserable as well. Any pony would.
Of course I know. I just thought she understood how I felt. We did the show, made bits. I performed, she packed and collected her fares and made the travel arrangements. It had always been that way. I never knew she was so unhappy. She never said. Everything was the same as it always was. And then so suddenly, RSPCD turned up asking me questions, and before I knew it, she was gone. Gone forever. I thought she must have just died. I thought I'd killed her.
That still didn't change your ways, though, did it? When I first met you, you didn't have Huffy, and you were the worst boaster I'd ever seen. You were unbearable.
She clenched her jaw.
I know.
Spike blinked. He hadn't actually expected her to agree.
It's something I learned when I was little.
Trixie's gaze slid away from him and focused intently into a corner.
The strong ones hurt the weak ones. I wasn't strong. I wasn't much of anything, really. Just a nothing. A no pony. Who cares about a no pony? I thought if I made myself the most amazing thing to come out of Philadelphia, the greatest unicorn who'd ever lived, bigger than life, then no pony could.
She stopped, clamping her lips together tightly.
No pony could hurt you.
A seed of pity for Trixie sprouted in his heart. She was a guilt-ridden shell of herself, yet she continually tried to don the trappings of her former glory, all in the name of self-protection. He could understand pride like that.
She's nervous. She's still very apprehensive about everything to do with ponies. I think she'd be happy to hear you give your explanations, though. Well, I'm guessing. I don't really know. But she likes details, I've gathered.
He smiled a little, remembering how she'd pestered him for every detail about greed growth, and how irritated she'd been that he couldn't really recall that much.
Wait for her to come to you. She will, you know. She did say that she loves you, even if she can't forgive you just yet. Besides, she's pretty curious. For now, though, I think she's only comfortable with me around. It must be pretty scary to go from total isolation to a village, even one as small as Ponyville.
She gave him a wide-eyed look that mingled shock and gratitude in equal measure.
You meant it when you wrote that you could be my friend, didn't you?
He nodded. She stood slowly and shakily, her face a mystery before walking back to him hesitantly, touching his face with a hoof. He allowed it.
I don't have many friends.
You've got another one now.
Spike nudged her hoof with a small press of his head.
While you're there, can you scratch that scale? My claws are outside after all, and I don't think this door is going to give me any more chances after the rattle I gave it earlier.
She actually laughed, a natural laugh, rather than her mocking stage laugh, and began to scratch his face with the tip of her hoof. Spike screwed up his eye.
Left a bit. That's it.
You feel like her.
Spike rolled his eyes.
Duh, dragon.
Don't you dare mock Trixie, or I'll stop scratching.
Her voice was carrying up into its more historic register again.
Spike, what are you doing? She's a guest.
Twilight was coming down from the stairs, a letter in its envelope hovering before her.
Why are you getting her to scratch your face?
Because you were upstairs and my feet are outside.
He explained as if it were totally reasonable. Twilight shook her head at him with her lips pressed tightly together before turning to Trixie and gently lowering her hoof.
You don't have to.
He asked and I agreed.
It's no big deal, Twilight.
She gave him an exasperated look.
Oh, on the contrary, it's a big deal.
Huh?
Trixie rounded upon them both with a determined expression, then shook her ragged mane and lifted her chin. Spike could almost see the cloak streaming from her shoulders.
There has been a revelation. From this day forth, the great Trixie will be the best and most open-hoofed friend in all of Equestria. Let no pony see her deny a request to scratch her dragon friend's scales. She will be the very pinnacle of all friendhood. She will become the nice and generous Trixie.
She struck an impressive pose. The little clouds of twinkling smoke puffed into existence on either side of her. It seemed that Trixie had decided to swing from one extreme to another.
You move fast when you want to, don't you?
Twilight had a merry smile on her face.
That's very good to hear. Well, nice and generous, Trixie. Would you like a cup of daisy tea? I can lend you a brush and a curry comb.
Trixie jerked out of her his heroic stance, her brow knitting.
Do I look bad?
For answer, Twilight conjured a mirror. Trixie blanched at the sight of her drawn and tear-streaked face, touching the deep circles beneath her eyes in dismay.
I look awful.
That's why I asked before.
She pulled herself up straighter, looking between them guardedly.
But there's something I don't understand.
What's that?
Trixie dismissed her mirror and cocked her head.
Why help me? I humiliated your friends. I lied to a whole village. I was the reason those two nincompoops brought the Ursa to town.
Because you're my friend now.
Because every pony needs second chances. The bathroom is upstairs and to your right. Go wash your face and then I'll make you a cup of...
Spike nodded to her, smiled at Trixie's astonished face, and pulled his head out of the door. The letter soared to his feet, and he picked it up carefully.
I'll see you later, you guys.
Next time when I tell you to wait, wait!
Trixie's voice carried out to him, and his smile became a grin as he turned and began to make his way back to his house. He could make out Huffy sitting stock still on her haunches. He wondered why she looked so awkward for a moment. Then he followed the direction of her eyes to the gap in the stones where his door would one day stand, then sucked in a sharp breath. He swore softly, his pulse suddenly thudding in his ears, and began to race towards the half-finished house. There was a pony standing there. Worse. It was a pony Spike recognized. Snatches of what she was saying drifted to his ears as he ran, competing with the rasp of his breath and the thud of his heart. The letter fluttered to the ground behind him.
Have a dragon already. We don't need two of you. Go!
Huffy seemed to shrink as she stared at the bluish-green unicorn with the flyaway peach-tinted mane. Though her muscles tensed visibly, what alarmed Spike the most about that reaction was that it didn't seem like she was getting ready to flee. Rather, it seemed as though she was preparing to fight.
I'm just visiting. I'm not staying.
Spike cleared the wall with a bound and skidded to stand before Huffy, panting hard.
Did she hurt you?
Huffy's magnificent teeth barred.
No.
Did she upset you?
Her eyes hardened.
How can you stand to stay amongst ponies at all?
Because she's not all ponies. Let me take care of this.
Be my guest.
Spike turned to face the leader of the Parents for a Peaceful Equestria, trying to regard her with a dispassionate, unbiased eye. It was quite the task. She was shaking violently, but her head was held high and proud. Her eyes were two pinpricks of utter fear.
What do you want?
It came out as a growl, though he hadn't intended it that way.
I want that creature to leave.
Her name is Huffy.
Spike spoke coolly, though there were still definite undertones of growl going on. He took another deep breath, hoping to calm himself down. This stupid pony could have driven Huffy to anything.
She's only here for a few days. She came to visit from a long way away.
Well, she should go back to a long way away. We don't want her here.
Right, that's it.
Spike?
Huffy was shocked into silence when Spike reached out a paw, lifted the unicorn into the air, and held her inches from his nose.
I have had enough of you. Huffy ran away when she was no more than a foal. She spent 10 years hiding from every pony and everything. She is frightened of you. You think it's a good idea to come here and berate her? What gives you the right, huh? You don't even live here.
He shook her slightly. The unicorn was cross-eyed in panic as she flopped about in his grip, her mouth slack and her face frozen, the rictus of fright. Spike jerked the pony closer to his face, fixing her with a glare of one furious green eye.
I can put up with your horse animals. All your protests and slogans and jargon and hypocrisy, I can deal with it. She is off limits. You got that?
The unicorn nodded frantically, her head wobbling madly on a neck limp with terror.
Good.
Spike put her down. The unicorn's legs almost gave way when she found herself on solid ground once more. She immediately drew herself up and swallowed hard as she met his eyes again. Her mouth opened as though she was about to speak, but no noise emerged. Spike raised his eyebrows.
Was there something?
Her mouth remained open. A strangled noise emerged, like a kitten being sat upon. He rolled his eyes.
Oh, for Luna's sakes, I'm not going to hurt you. If you got something to say it to me. Not her, me.
The unicorn's mouth snapped shut. She blinked heavily a few times before planting her hooves firmly.
You.
She began in a rasping, dread-laden voice that trailed off as soon as it had begun.
Spike, she was...
I know what she was doing.
Spike spoke with contempt as he watched the unicorn wrestling with her fear.
She was making you afraid again. I returned the favor. And I've broken one of my own rules in the process, too. I'm sorry, Huffy. Maybe we should go down to the lake or something. There aren't usually many ponies there. Might be a few photographers, though.
No, listen.
Huffy grabbed his foreleg and whirled him around to face her.
You're not listening. She thought I was here to hurt you.
Spike's mouth lined up a retort, but his brain had suddenly decided to take a short holiday. He gaped at her, jaw working uselessly. The unicorn finally found her voice.
You're the Ponyville dragon, not her. She should go away.
She should do whatever it is she thinks she should do and not what any pony else says she should do.
Spike's mouth worked on automatic as his brain tried to catch up. A glint of amusement entered Huffy's eye.
Spike, snap out of it.
He closed his eyes and pinched his foreleg. Opening them, he was still looking into Huffy's face, which was now definitely amused.
She's still there, isn't she?
Huffy glanced over his shoulder.
And shaking like a leaf.
Spike whirled on her, his eyes incredulous.
But you hate me!
The pony flinched at his sudden movement.
I don't like dragons, but if there's got to be one, it's going to be you, and not some ravening beast from the depths of the foul place near... What is that word?
Palfreyton.
Palfreyton.
She gave a genial shudder. Spike stood for a minute, his mind trying to process that.
So, you don't want a dragon, but you sort of do, and you want it to be me.
The unicorn sniffed.
Yes. No. Sort of.
Spike choked on that for another second before he began to laugh helplessly. He spoke between coughs and felt like they rose up from the very soles of his feet.
You're messed up. You are so messed up.
You chased the other dragon away.
Unicorn spoke with brittle dignity, and Spike shook his head feebly as his laughter redoubled.
You think I chased Razorfang away?
He wrapped a foreleg around his stomach, rocking backwards against his tail.
Oh, stop, it hurts me. I'm a buck compared to him.
But you still did it.
Her mouth held so sourly that Spike thought the admission must have left an awful taste in her mouth.
You still went and faced him.
Well, of course I did. This is my village.
Spike wiped his eyes and looked down at her, hugely entertained.
You're a total mess, lady.
I am a respected shopkeeper.
You're a market stall holder, and a complete and total hypocrite. Look, Huffy's a visitor, and she won't be hurting any pony either. Your lot are the ones trying to kill, not us.
Kill?
Or have I somehow gained the ability to make harpoons magically hurl themselves at my head now?
Spike looked at Huffy, who had her claws stuffed into her mouth to keep from laughing.
That's a fancy new skill I picked up. I could see it coming in handy for, oh, I don't know, nothing.
We would never resort to violence. We will achieve our goals through peaceful means.
I know about the protests in nearby villages. If they come here all at the same time, it's going to be anything but peaceful. It'll be a riot, and you know it.
We are trying to protect our foals.
She stamped a hoof angrily, her fear lost in an outrage. He leaned forward.
I don't eat ponies.
He said that as clearly and as forcefully as he could. His breath blew more of the unicorn's frizzy mane backwards, and she swallowed. Then her head raised once more, her yellow eyes desperate and full of an old dread.
I know, but they're not like you. How is I supposed to know that she wouldn't be like that thing in the Everfree Forest? How do I know that she wouldn't be like that thing that killed my great-grandparents?
Spike's eyebrows shot skywards.
Dragon killed your...
The unicorn nodded, and her face became set.
My grandfather was just a foal. He saw it all. A dragon rampaged through Upper Destrich, destroying the farmsteads. He escaped by hiding under some rubble. He told me the story when I was just a little filly.
When did this happen?
160 years ago.
Rampaged. Did your grandfather describe the dragon at all?
Huge, red and black, monstrous, killing and stealing, burning everything it could steal.
Did it have wings?
The unicorn shook her head.
He said it had. Ah, he said it was like a great malformed lizard.
Greed growth. Like what happened to you?
Got it in one.
The unicorn looked puzzled.
This makes sense to you?
Yeah. It's the sort of thing that happens when an immature dragon's greed gets out of control. Their internal magic gets on the act, and they start to grow. It's not like growing up normally. You grow up sort of twisted instead. You don't get wings, you get obsessed, and you start to hoard like a crazy pony. The more you hoard, the more you grow. It's fast, too. It could take minutes, even seconds. Then your mind gets muddled and you forget how to talk. It's weird and blurry, and you can't remember much.
It happened to you.
The pony gasped and began to back away slowly, her eyes once more enormous with fright.
It won't happen again. Rarity snapped me out of it. It only lasted a day, and I didn't hurt any pony. Still made a huge mess, though. It took forever to fix it all up.
You fixed everything yourself then?
The greenish-blue pony stopped her retreat and frowned.
Not all by myself, but as much as I could, yeah. I was still only a baby, about half your size at the time. I was busy for... sheesh, must have been months.
She gave him a long, speculative look.
I see.
So, a greed-grown dragon killed your great-grandparents and you were raised on the stories. That's why you're so afraid of us.
I'm not afraid.
Her face was defiant and her voice was harsh. Then she stepped back with a screech. Then Huffy reached her forepaw out towards her. The long mauve claws hovered in the air, a whole 6 pony lengths from the unicorn. They hadn't even come close.
Yes, you are.
Huffy folded her forepaw back beneath her.
What's your name, anyway? I can't keep on thinking about you as the greeny-blue unicorn.
Grapevine, and I am not afraid.
Yeah, you are. And don't bother denying it. Hello, predator talking. I can smell you being frightened from all the way over here.
Really?
Yep.
So you admit to being a predator then?
Grapevine's face became stony.
Well, I can't really pretend that I'm not. Fangs, claws, the whole sack full of bits, you know? But I don't hunt. I sure as sugar don't eat hunt ponies.
You might one day.
Don't think so. I've claimed my territory. My horde is now my ponies. It's a natural claiming according to the books, based on age and thought and balance. So there'll be no greed growth this time. That sort of thing is totally directionless. You just want. Territory's different. You need. I don't have to grab everything in sight because now I know what I need. And that's them. My ponies. I'm going to help them and protect them and watch over them. It wouldn't make any sense to go around hunting and eating them. I'll be greeting in a different way. A better way. I know it's different from how other dragons think about territory, but then I've been told I'm a very different sort of dragon.
Grapevine's mouth pursed as she chewed that over for a few moments. Then she gave the two dragons a fierce look.
I still don't like you.
Likewise.
A beast like you... decimated a farming village, killed my great-grandparents, and left my grandfather an orphan. I won't ever forget that.
There was a threat implicit in her tone. Spike bristled, his anger throwing caution to the winds.
Well, a unicorn killed my mother, stole my egg, and left my two siblings to die. It hasn't stopped me from loving a unicorn as a sister.
Grapevine looked utterly shocked. So did Huffy. The white and purple dragon's head whipped back to him, her mouth open in horror. Her eyes gradually filled with a luminous sympathy, and she curled her tail around Spike's with a delicate, unsure touch.
Spike.
He shook his head roughly.
Sorry. Told you it wasn't a very nice story. I shouldn't have blurted out like that, but she got me cross.
Grapevine opened her mouth once more as if to challenge that statement before her head slumped.
I didn't know about that.
Many ponies do. Ponies used to hunt us, and we used to hunt ponies, until a treaty was formed. A treaty that some pony broke when they threw a harpoon at me.
A treaty?
Dismay creeped around the edges of Grapevine's voice.
You run a political movement about dragons and you didn't even know about that? Of course you didn't. Yeah, the Wormstat's not real happy with us right now, and mostly thanks to your parents' group, by the way. By the way, obvious now. Obvious name.
Grapevine began to frown.
A treaty between dragons and ponies. When?
100 years ago. Too late for me by 20 years, and too late for your great-grandparents by only 6.
What were the terms?
Spike snorted smoke through his nostrils in annoyance.
Go look it up. I'm not a library.
Is my story like that?
Huffy wondered aloud, her head snaking around to nestle comfortably against Spike's shoulder. Spike continued to stare at Grapevine.
Not that much, but it's not very nice either. The one I feel truly sorry for is Razorfang.
But he wants to kill you.
Spike gave her a level look.
Fancy that.
Grapevine flushed.
What happened to him?
Huffy's jaw moved against his shoulder as she spoke.
His mate was killed by a magical avalanche started by ponies because she wouldn't leave her home.
Spike spoke in as even a voice as he could muster. He watched Grapevine's face intently, which paled by increments as he spoke.
They smashed in her skull with a boulder. His 2 sons flew to avenge her, but they were killed too. Razorfang was in the long sleep and woke up long after every pony responsible was dead.
Ponies did that?
Spike nodded.
I didn't know.
Her yellow eyes became confused and her blousy hair got caught in her rapidly blinking eyelashes.
Now you do.
Spike was suddenly tired of her narrow, blinkered thinking. She'd actually listened this time, however, which was a vast improvement compared to their first meeting. Still, he didn't feel like having to explain himself anymore, and he was beginning to get annoyed by the shifting tides of hostility and ignorance. He raised his head and spotted the letter where it had fallen during the dash to intervene between Huffy and the unicorn.
And I have news for Huffy regarding her own egg, so if you don't mind, push off.
Huffy gasped slightly at his rudeness before chuckling guiltily.
Not very polite, Spike.
She puts me in a bad mood. Push off, please.
Grapevine closed her mouth with an audible snap. Then the leader of the anti-dragon movement trotted away from the house, with offended outrage leaking from every pore.
I don't think you got on her good side somehow.
I'll lie awake at night and cry about it.
He then sobered, dismissing the unicorn from his mind and drawing himself up straighter.
Huffy, do you want to know where your egg came from?
She paused before giving him a serious look.
You said it wasn't as bad.
It's still pretty bad.
He turned to face her. Her tail gripped his a little harder before she nodded again, face impassive.
I don't want to, but I think perhaps I need to. And like you said, need's not the same as want.
Her tail twitched before uncoiling. He could feel her eyes on his back as he walked over to the discarded letter and brought it back.
Okay.
He opened it up deftly, spreading it out and laying it on his back, or on his belly.
Where is that paragraph?
You're so clever with your claws.
She laid down beside him, openly admiring his hard-won skill.
Maybe I should pick up apples for a month.
It gets old. Here we go.
He looked up at her.
Ready?
She closed her eyes, breathing deeply before opening them again and fixing them on his face.
Ready.
He turned back to the letter. Somehow the sight of her eyes so close had shaken him. They were a clear and perfect blend of pink and purple.
Right. Okay then. Your mum was the dragoness of the cindery catacombs, and your dad was the dragon of the Tanglevine forest. Your egg was one of 4 in the clutch.
You two seem to be having fun.
Twilight commented as they came back to the library that evening, chatting excitedly. They'd gone flying and swimming, and Spike had shown her some of the moves Rainbow Dash had taught him. In return, Huffy had demonstrated an entirely new flame she had come up with, a sort of fireball that rocketed from her in a spitting, hissing blaze of dark purple. Spike had been a bit surprised at the color of her fire, somehow expecting it to be green like his. She had been equally surprised to discover green fire, and there had been a friendly contest for a small time. Huffy had a lot more fire, but Spike had a lot more control. His invisible flame sealed his victory.
We went swimming.
Huffy's excitement immediately snuffed out at the sound of a pony's voice to be replaced by a subdued wariness.
I haven't swum for so long. There's only one water hole in Bambi, and it's too small to swim in now.
Spike took up the tail. His excitement was plain for every pony to see.
It was great, Twilight. She can do this barrel roll. It's amazing. And she can shoot these fireballs that hit the target from a whole 30 pony strides away. Huffy's an incredible flyer. She didn't believe me when I told her I only got the hang of it a fortnight ago.
He puffed out his chest proudly.
Easy there, Wonderbolt Spike. Are you hungry?
Starving.
The apples that had been put aside for Huffy's welcome were now piled at the side of the library, stacked there along with Spike's usual crates and barrels. Spike eagerly grabbed for one of his barrels and yanked the lid off with as much speed as he could manage before pinching 2 apples and tossing them into his mouth.
Oh, yeah.
He grabbed a clawful and more practically crammed them in.
Chew, Spike. You'll choke.
I won't.
He mumbled back defiantly and swallowed.
No, I won't. Anyway, I was hungry.
Don't you think you should serve your guests first?
Twilight flicked a meaningful glance over to Huffy, who was watching Spike with bemusement.
Oh, right.
Spike grinned and rubbed the back of his neck.
Sorry, Huffy. What would you like? Let's see. Dash has given us red apples, green apples, yellow apple, some pumpkins, some... Ugh! Why does he keep growing turnips? Why would any pony? And some parsnips and some potatoes.
Apples would be lovely, though I don't think I can eat them quite like you do.
No pony eats apples quite like Spike does.
Just stick your head in the barrel. That's what I used to do.
Huffy made a face at that idea and tried to pick up the apple, her larger claws slicing through the white flesh without any resistance whatsoever. She frowned.
It's not easy, is it?
got to learn to use just the right amount of pressure.
Spike picked up another apple and munching happily. She tried again before giving up with an annoyed huff and plunging her snout into the barrel as he had suggested. She ate ravenously, with the occasional tearing motions of her head that made Spike feel rather uneasy. She finished her barrel long before Spike had even made a dent in his, and licked her muzzle clean with her long, forked tongue as she waited from her perch on the library's front stoop. Twilight gave Huffy a shrewd look.
You were used to eating meat, aren't you?
Her tone made it clear that wasn't really a question.
That jerk of your head. That's from tearing meat. I've seen Owlicious and Winona, too.
Huffy's mouth became a thin, set line, and she reached for another barrel.
I did what I had to.
She looked anywhere but at Spike.
So you can hunt? Whoa.
She scrabbled at the lid of the barrel, creating deep scores in the wood before handing it to him to open. Her eyes still didn't meet his. He stuck a claw through the lid and yanked it off, handing it back. She took it but made no move to begin eating again.
Huffy?
Don't hate me.
She clutched the barrel and continued to steadfastly avert her gaze.
Please?
He frowned.
What? Huffy, why would I hate you?
Her eyes didn't leave the cobbles.
Because I hunt, and I eat meat, and you don't. You told that unicorn that you didn't and never would. We're proud of it. I never used to, but I found a dead deer and I was so hungry. Never hurt a pony ever, but I've had to learn. I would have starved.
His stomach churned a little at the notion, but found himself wishing he hadn't eaten so fast.
I don't hate you. The whole idea makes me feel a little bit sick, but if it works for you, I don't mind. Besides, maybe you could teach me some of your hunting tricks. I bet that you come in really handy if I ever had to defend the village from something I can't scare off.
Huffy's eyes jerked to him.
Really? You don't mind?
Hey, I just said that, didn't I?
Dragons are omnivores.
Huffy blinked, and then looked between Spike and Twilight with dawning suspicion in her face. Spike flushed, remembering how he'd blurted that very same thing earlier.
You can eat practically anything. You were alone and young and hungry, you would have died of starvation. We're not going to judge you for eating what you had to.
Twilight's hoof reached out to touch Huffy's paw in the same comforting way she usually touched Spike's. His small pang of jealousy faded when he saw how the touch affected Huffy. Her expression shifted from immediate fear to dawning wonder.
Thank you.
You'll find that the diet here is pretty low on deer and pretty high in apples, though.
You've got no idea how long it's been since I tasted an apple. A proper, grown by an earth pony apple.
Dig in and don't be shy. Sweet Apple Acres getting all the aid they'll ever need and more.
More helping out?
He grinned a little, tossing another apple into his mouth.
Sort of, yeah. Sort of payment for services rendered, sort of territory, sort of lots of things. It all works in my head, promise.
You have a very complicated life.
Huffy shook her head before bending to her new barrel. Spike exchanged a look with Twilight before beginning to chuckle.
I say that a lot.
Never stops.
Twilight levitated an apple for herself out of Spike's barrel. He scowled.
You stole my apple.
Maybe you can get started on those turnips.
She snickered at his resulting growl. A pair of purple eyes were watching them longingly from the library window. Spike picked up another apple and gave them a superstitious wink. Pinkie Pie's welcome Huffy party was in fact a very small affair. Huffy herself seemed bemused and slightly alarmed by it. It didn't last long, and it was more in the nature of late snack by starlight than any actual party. Spike found himself grateful that Pinkie had restrained her natural inclination to turn it into a balloons and cake extravaganza. Celestia only knew how much that would have freaked Huffy out. Only his 6 dear friends, Macintosh, Just, and Trixie attended. Huffy spent most of the time talking with Fluttershy. That particular conversation was agonizingly stilted. The two shy creatures were practically outdoing each other when it came to awkward pauses and stammering. Huffy's eyes continually darted between Spike and Trixie, who sat with Twilight, Rainbow Dash, and Rarity. Trixie herself didn't take her eyes from Huffy once. Rarity had brought along a few amethysts as a welcome present for Huffy, and Spike gave her a thankful look. Rarity brushed it off with a wave of her hoof, and watched the slim mauve dragon eat her gift with satisfaction. Huffy's eyes widened, and then lit it in bliss.
Oh my.
Been a long time between gems?
Quiet. I'm in heaven.
I'm so glad you liked it, Huffy dear.
Spike exaggeratingly lifted a claw to his lips. The party ended. Twilight kissed him goodnight before ushering Trixie inside. The two dragons hunkered down by the library, and Spike made sure that he was between Huffy and the streets. He couldn't shield her all that well, but she would most probably feel better with somebody between her and all those strange ponies. The light in the library switched off, and the cool darkness spread through the square. Spike sighed and put his head on his claws, eyes closing.
Your friends are very nice.
Her voice was soft susurration in the night. Spike smiled.
Yeah, they're great. Did you like talking with Fluttershy?
She knows a lot about animals, doesn't she?
She runs the animal shelter here in Ponyville.
She sure blushes a lot around that big red one.
That's a new development.
There was a small pause. Spike closed his eyes again, his limbs sinking against the warm cobblestones.
Do you want to visit the Brumby bushlands with me tomorrow?
Sure, but how far is it really? I don't want to be tired for the fight.
She was silent for a moment.
It's pretty far. I flew all morning and afternoon. I don't know how far you'd go. I mean, you're smaller than me.
I'm fast.
You are, but it's not a case of being fast. That flight, it's an endurance test.
Spike pulled a face.
I hate endurance tests. Did I tell you about that obstacle course?
She laughed, her body shunting closer to his.
It's nice here. Maybe we should stay in Ponyville tomorrow.
He opened his eyes again and looked over at her. Her face was half obscured by darkness, her eyes glinting in the starlight.
Are you sure? You must really want to go home.
I do, but you're not going to be tired tomorrow for my sake.
It'd be fine if you wanted to sneak back for the day. And I do want to see your home. I really do.
Shh.
Her claw wrapped around his once more. Spike was starting to look forward to that touch. The touch of another dragon like me.
It's okay. I'll stay here until after the fight.
He opened his mouth to protest some more, and she shook her head adamantly.
I won't hear it. Now get some rest.
Spike blinked and obediently laid his head back onto his feet. Her paw was nestled against his cheek. Silence fell over the square once more, and to his somewhat drowsy surprise, Spike found that he was perfectly peaceful. His village lay safe and sleeping contentedly all around him, and the warm glow of positive pride bathed his mind. Beside him lay his newest friend, living proof that he was not alone. The sweet night breezes played over his back, and he could feel sleep approaching like a wave. Just before the wave broke, he vaguely heard a whisper.
You won't die, Spike. You won't.
He grunted muzzily before shifting his head over to hers. Her soft intake of breath hung in the air like a raindrop on a spiderweb, but he was too sleepy and comfortable to notice. She burned with the same internal fires as he did. She was so warm.
Go to sleep.
Her neck slowly relaxed, her head sliding beside his.
Good night, Spike.
Night.
He dropped into sleep between one thought and the next. Tomorrow, Spike woke up the next morning, with Huffy snoring softly beside him. His peace was gone, his mind was full of just one word, and all else was shrieking static. On autopilot he stood and stretched, and with the ease of long practice shoved the fear into the dark corner of his mind. Tomorrow, it was tomorrow. This could be his last day to live. And there is the end of chapter 14.
Yay!
Was anyone else having Winchester just sort of drop off on the end of every sentence?
Everyone was
Yep.
dropping off.
Yep.
For me, at least.
Oh, well, okay.
I was only getting it for Winchester.
I was
I
only
got
getting
it
I was only
for
getting it for
Sora,
CMC.
Double R, and Winchester.
I would get it like for Winchester more than anybody else, but I would get it for random people every now and again.
And also
Winchester mostly, but I did get Sora a couple times.
and also Double R, if in the future you could put yourself on Do Not Disturb, so we're not getting Discord pings every 30 seconds.
Yeah, it looks like one of those role-playing servers is going out of here.
Yeah, there's the reason why I just
down by your icon in the thing, you should see the green circle. Just click that and set it to red.
yeah. I mean, I've
nice.
set up my Discord so that I can stay online, but none of my but I don't get any notification sounds. So
Yeah,
Yeah, it
annoyingly
automatically
you have
does
to
that
do
when you
that
go into
server by
streamer mode.
server.
I don't. I just have that.
No, with streamer mode, it automatically does it.
I'm not even in streamer mode. I went to notifications, and let's see. Sounds.
got it.
Message turned off. Deafen turned off. I just literally went to notifications and turned off basically all the sounds except for voice disconnecting. And the outgoing and
Already did
ingoing
it.
ring.
Okay.
So.
All right. Yeah,
So, but anyways, very very good.
we got 2 more chapters and an epilogue for this story.
So apparently from this reading, Twilight is now Trixie and Spike is now Huffy.
Huh?
What?
Because a couple of times in the thing there, it was marked as Huffy, but those were Spike lines.
Shut up.
And Winchester kept on saying, Trixie dismissed the mirror instead of Twilight dismissed her mirror.
What do you mean kept? I said that once.
Twice.
The
At
line
least
only,
twice.
the line only came up once.
Because everybody knows that second time makes all the difference.
Yes.
Yeah. No, yeah, this is
Now
probably
we
the
can't
last one
trust
I'll
you
be,
anymore, Winchester.
Well,
But you
Well,
did.
I would have had Cyril come back, but I was just like, then I wouldn't have anything to do.
Well, hopefully you can get a lot of people in, because, like, the next 2 chapters are going to have a lot of people, a lot of roles.
Okay. So-
yeah, this is like the calm before the storm.
So
Yeah.
all of you guys are coming back next week and the week after. I don't care about Christmas. So that doesn't even
Well,
exist.
Christmas
for me.
on Monday, so it's not our problem. So
But yes, so
Yeah. I'm just glad that whatever was making my throat annoying from the past weekend actually cleared up by today. Because otherwise, I wouldn't have this high voice up here. I wouldn't have my high tone.
fun.
Okay, could you do me a favor real quick and just in that voice just say Ohana?
I saw
Ohana
that coming.
means family. Family means nobody gets left behind. Blue punch, buddy.
They should totally.
I
do...
instantly want to hug you and love on you forever.
No, you don't.
Yes, I have toyed with that voice a bit.
Leo Low and Statue was not one of my favorites.
Yeah, it was okay. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Okay, we are about to have a talk.
Okay, and before that. Oh. dear.
What if I told you I still haven't seen The Lion King?
I might have
What
to.
did you
And
do
make you
growing up?
watch.
Hey, orange
Not
shirt
of
guy.
everyone
At least
here
one or
is
two, I could try
it.
it.
I know.
Orange shirt guy. So Double R's not going to be watching the Star Wars premiere with us. We are going to get his own private streaming of all the Disney movies he hasn't seen, and all the Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah, Star Wars is considered Disney now, isn't it? Wow.
Everybody, go watch Sora now. Go.
Type the /raid command.
Wait, like right now?
Yes.
Okay, well, should we give our shoutouts and goodbyes first?
No, we're not important enough.
Go here.
Wow.
Everybody, go here.
No, it's just freaking like I'm trying to accomplish a goal here. And I was trying to wait till we were done with the reading. I always wait till we're done with the reading, and
You are more successful than half of us here.
what do you mean?
You're attempting to accomplish a goal. Most of us just never really attempt.
Yeah,
Speak for yourself there, Joe.
I don't even pretend, so.
Ruined the joke. God damn it! Now I feel weird. I'm shutting up.
Orange, like you actually successfully complete anything, Mr. I blew up my transmission.
Nothing blew up. I could have driven it to the fucking moon. I just decided not to.
I could have driven
You
it to
just
the moon.
you just couldn't have got it into gear or out of gear. Or
I
no,
don't
it would
think
have stayed
that's
out
how
of gear. You
internal
couldn't-
combustion engines work.
What the hell are you doing?
I might need not.
You know, I really love looking in the corner of my screen, going from like 1 person, 3, 5.
7.
Oh god.
I got my stereo to work in my car, so I accomplished that. I woke up this morning. I accomplished that.
I don't think I ever
Small
accomplished.
things, okay? Small victories.
Side note: CMC just left us.
No.
Well, screw him. So,
I think his internet died.
oh, he's back.
There he is,
so-
the love of my life.
Wow.
He's
So-
gone.
So,
wait.
so
I
I'm
scared him off. I won't say that anymore.
I was gonna say I'm assuming Sam isn't watching. But anyways, time for shout outs. So without further ado, we'll start with Steel.
Shout out to my job for finally giving me my first day assignment.
Neat.
I start tomorrow.
Cool. Are you still working
Um,
at the Ranger Stadium?
Yes, but no.
Okay.
It's like between seasons, so
Oh, it's the off season. Okay, I get it.
yeah. When
Alrighty.
there's no baseball, I don't work there.
Alrighty. So next on to Sora.
What am I doing?
Shout outs.
Shoutouts? Shout out to Coca-Cola for being tasty.
I can second that.
No, we are not sponsored by them.
This
definitely-
episode sponsored by Coca-Cola.
Steel would
No, we'll
love
get
that.
demonetized. Oh wait, never mind. We don't make money.
Congratulations, Skyrays. You're now our lawyer. But you're not gonna get paid, so.
Wait, we're getting paid for this?
No.
Well, you
Hey, I
have
finally got connected back after it freaked out.
actually, Sora. I think you're the only one here who has been paid for this.
Bullshit.
What do you mean paid for this?
Let's go on strike.
Oh, because of the
Icons.
Favors.
yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Skyrays still has like $20 that from when he had the 7 Days to Die server, and I was like giving him $5 every month. And then I started using him as a bank because he didn't have the server up anymore, and I was too lazy to cancel the subscription. So like
I told you to cancel that for like 4 months in a row until I forced it to cancel.
Yeah, and like for a while I was just sitting there like, I'll just go and keep pouring money into him, and then like.
And I tried to refund each and every single one of them, but he denied them. I was pissed.
And then like after like a year or something, I was just like, hey, I need some cash. Hey, Skyrays, all that money. So idiot.
Oh no, I feel bad. It says I gotten messages, but I can't read them. I'm sorry, Winchester. I didn't mean to cut you off.
So, anyways, next on to Double R Forest.
Shout out to that particular feeling when you have to edit 3 chapters for 3 different people in 1 week.
Fun.
Yep, one being the next Winchester Wednesdays chapter, which I think is like a few thousand. And there's another one that's about 20,000. Then another one's going over 40,000. So yeah.
Wow. You're a busy boy.
Yeah, and that's on top of me trying to find a second job and trying to getting a finalized stuff with a roommate to get moving to a new apartment. And then the last test for this quarter tomorrow. Yeah.
All right. Alrighty. And next on to Skyrays.
Penis. I don't know.
Good shout out.
Wow.
Tier.
Top tier.
Top cack.
Boy,
See, she gets it.
well.
We thank the Lord today for this bountiful penis.
Somebody made a poem about that earlier this morning. It's just like, it's amazing.
Oh, shoutouts to CMC for activating my OCD earlier in the stream, and I've been having a PTSD attack ever since. So.
Do you remember Vietnam?
Wait, what?
And speaking of PTSD, next on to Orange Shirt Guy.
Oh.
Shoutouts to
I feel bad now.
the Punisher. Because
What? Jesus?
PTSD. And also it's taking up like a majority of my time. And also shoutouts to Samsung for making an S8 that has a battery life of a solid 3 days now.
Oh, good God.
Wow, finally.
Still going strong.
Wow. So you mean it's now finally doing as good as my phone, which I got for half the price 2 years ago.
Damn.
You better not have an iPhone.
No, it's not actually.
No, he's
Okay.
he's smart.
I was gonna say.
Just what are you trying to imply?
People with iPhones are stupid, duh.
Yeah.
So
Calling
next.
Larsa stupid?
So next on to people that
No,
aren't stupid and
no,
doesn't have an
Lars is-
iPhone. We have CMC.
No, we're calling him we're calling him a natic. Wow, what's the fucking word?
An
no,
Apple
bizarrely
fanboy?
Challenged. There we go.
Those that get the iPhone and have to actually update every year with each new model. That's the stupid ones.
Well, the thing is, we give Larsus the free pass just
So-
because he's actually smart enough to be able to...
No, we give
shout outs to fires, explosions, LOE, the usual, and not whatever.
Why is it
was
always
given
fire and explosions?
I don't know. That's his shit. Let him have it.
because
Are you
There
completely
neither's
forgetting
ever-
LOE?
I'm gonna go start fires and explosions on the streaming server right now. Let's go do that. That's gonna be fun, right? Right? Right?
Oh no. Oh no.
Not again.
What?
Anyways, yes.
Who did that?
So
Did what?
The good luck. I just immediately thought of Starbucks. Star Fox.
anyways, yeah.
Good luck.
But
I don't know,
anyways,
but
yes.
I just lost my Fitbit while
Thanks
trying to pull
everybody
it
for
out so I could
stopping
put it in the
by.
charger.
And on the
Pull
subject
it out of where?
and on the subject of Larsus going and
it's
having an iPhone,
based.
I consider that to no, we were going on the upgrading every year. The issue with iPhone is they make it so you have to upgrade every year. But yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
So anyways, without
It's
further
only if they
ado,
put out a iOS update that won't go to your device.
yeah.
Which
But-
it won't.
Forces itself onto your device to allow your phone to work at 20% capacity.
Anyways, yes. So
Hence why my
thanks.
iPod Touch is no longer usable to play the pony game.
Anyways, thanks to everybody for showing up. I hope you had fun. Go watch Sora. She is streaming right now, and currently we're trying to get her Twitch affiliated, so that should be fun. So yes. So anyways, other events. So Thursday, is Silent Boss still doing a thing?
I think he streams on Twitch when he does, so I pay it.
So Silent may or may not do something tomorrow. I have no idea. Friday, you guys do your RPG stream, don't you?
Yes, and we are trying to actually get everyone back in and doing stuff, because, yeah, life and everything tore us all asunder in every which way.
Alrighty, so
have
Friday
no
they
idea
have the
where my
RPG
Fitbit went.
stream, and then Saturday they, I think Circuit still does the Saturday morning cartoons.
No,
No,
not until there's a new episode.
so Circuit is no longer doing Saturday morning cartoons. Oh well, but Creature does his gaming meltdown, so you can go check that out. And then Sunday we have Circuit's Let's Play, where he plays a couple of games and whatnot. Then Monday we have the Equestrian Flag Stop, I do so believe, before the Brony Show. So yes, make sure to catch those, and then Circuit has a little after party sometimes afterwards. And then, let's see, is there anything going on Tuesdays?
Nope.
Might there
Not
be
there
something
is.
going on Tuesdays?
Yes.
Okay, Sora might be streaming on streaming Let's Plays on Tuesdays.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay,
Just
so Sora will probably be streaming
Doing
Let's
me.
Plays and stuff on Tuesdays, so that should be fun.
I'm guessing that's over on your Twitch.
Yeah, I was
Mhm.
about to ask, will it be on your Twitch or on our streams?
on my Twitch. I need to switch my Picardo crap because I'm tired of using Picardo. I need to just switch everything to Twitch. So.
Yeah. Alrighty, and then Wednesdays we have Winchester Wednesdays. So yes, which if I can get
We have the man himself.
as as long as we can get the readers for readings, we shall do readings. If we can't do those, or if something comes up with me, we do Skyrace's Game Fun Time. So yes. Anyway,
I thought you said gay fun time. I don't know why my brain thought you said gay fun time.
Close
Yes,
enough.
on
Because
Wednesdays we
sources.
have Winchester Wednesdays starring Winchester,
so
As-
Once in a while, my gay fun
a
time.
pony.
Ooh, Winchester. Can I say that thing about the con?
no, because it's not set in stone yet.
Okay.
So yeah, anyways, thanks y'all for showing up. Hope you had a good time. And we shall see you next week. Everybody say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all for showing up. It's been fun. And that was also from Odyssey Eurobeat / Eurobeat Brony's new album, Data Flow, or EP, I guess. Yeah, it's an EP, not an album. I still have to figure out what those mean. But anyways, yeah, so go check that out. I've listened to a few of the songs, and they're actually really good. So yeah, make sure to check that out. This is Winchester 572 going 10-7. I'm out. Bye-bye.